All right, welcome back to another slideshow of another car that I fixed up. This is a 1982 Suzuki SJ410, also known as a Jimny, or later would be known as the Samurai. So I saw this in the local marketplace, and yeah, price was pretty reasonable. And I just thought, man, what the heck? Never worked on one of these things, and so I just wanted to give it a shot. So picked it up. It was pretty rough. The story I was told was that this truck was used somewhere out on a farm nearby, and it was used by a farming family to run lunches out to the farmers doing combining and stuff like that. So yeah, had some pretty interesting features. It had, I guess, what you could call a farmer's swap, engine swap. No disrespect to farmers, but yeah, somehow they crammed in a GM, a 1.6 out of a Chevette into this truck. So yeah, so this is just when I first got it. The first thing I did was just give the paint a little bit of a buffing. Came right back up. This is the stock color for this truck. Black interior, black exterior. Found a bit of rust, so I just got right on fixing that up. It went right through the floor there. So I'll just put together some patches. I quickly found that welding 22 gauge, I'm guessing it's 22 gauge, the metal on these trucks is really thin. I mean, I hate to say it, but they're really junky. Like, they're just so cheaply made. There's hardly any metal in them. It's just really, really thin, and I think that's why they rust out so bad. But yeah, I don't know. I just you can see I'm working on my driveway here, but doing some of the rust repair. The lower corner there where the running light is. Yeah, just burning in some new metal, a little bit of filler to smooth things over. There it is in primer. And yeah, the nice thing about working on a black car is it's pretty easy to match the paint. So every repair I did was really easy to blend in with the stock paint. Yeah, so that's that. There's still some other rust repair to be done, but I will do that later. Yeah, so it was right around this time that I started renting half a garage from a friend of mine. So here I've moved the Suzuki into the garage and ready to do some more work on it. Here's some rust repair right behind the driver's seat. So it had perforating rust just on the cargo floor there. Just burned in a new patch, plug welded and whatnot. So that's taken care of. Also took care of some strange things. They had a weird kind of like pusher bar welded to the frame, so I cut that off. Here's a little bit of rust repair on the passenger footwell. Cool little unit. I ended up using this as my daily driver for a while, and it was just really fun. So yeah, with the interior coming together, coated it all with some rubberized undercoating. Here's a little patch just on the top of the rear fender well, and also the last major patch along the passenger side fender and cargo floor. So I had to do quite a bit of repair there. You can see the metal just looks paper thin. Had to rebuild the floor, and then rebuild the inner fender. And here it is, coated with the rubberized undercoating. Really utilitarian vehicle. I didn't put any sort of carpets in it or anything like that. Looking online, I learned that seats from a Neon will pretty much bolt right up, and that was true. The track width is exactly the same, so I was able to use the stock mounting rails and everything like that. And yeah, pretty cute little unit. Starting to work on some of the mechanical and electrical. It needed new U-joints. The front drive shaft was just rattling around. There was so much play. Electrical was just a disaster. A lot of the light lenses were smashed and stuff like that, so I ordered all new stuff. Got in underneath the dash, pulled out a ton of extraneous wiring, like just so many dead wires. That's just a section of the wires that I pulled out that were doing nothing. So got the dash back together, all painted, looking pretty good. Had to put a new shift lever on it. This is actually a piece of a shock shaft. So the bumper was completely beat up. Again, the bumper was made of just the thinnest metal. These things are so light. I think it's about less than half the weight of my FJ62 Land Cruiser. Like, there's just nothing to them. Bumper and primer, looking better. Working on the brakes, I replaced the wheel cylinders. There are a bunch of things missing, like there's no overflow tank, so that's actually a Land Cruiser overflow tank that I put in there. Wired up some off-road lights just to make it look cool. And yeah, it's starting to look like a cool little rig. I love driving this thing. I would always get comments at the gas station when I was filling up. So many people have owned these things. They just sold so many of these trucks over through the 80s there. Here's rust repair on the passenger side rear marker light. Again, very, very thin metal, just rusts out so easily. But pretty straightforward repair, just shaping the metal patch to fit, welding it in very carefully. You're molding 18 gauge to 22 gauge, so it's easy to burn through, but and there's the hole cut for the marker light. Again, I ordered all new marker lights and signal lights for this thing. It all came from India. And man, if you think Chinese-made parts are crappy, Indian-made auto parts are just really, really cheaply made. Precision doesn't seem to be an issue. Here I did a tune-up and I found that one of the spark plug wires was disconnected, so one of the spark plugs wasn't even firing. So yeah, once it was running on 4 cylinders instead of 3, ran a lot better. Doing a knuckle rebuild here. Very similar to a Land Cruiser. If you've done a Land Cruiser knuckle rebuild, it's basically the same process. It's a solid front axle, so drum brake fronts, tiny little Burfield axle, probably like 2/3 the size of a Land Cruiser one, but still pretty beefy for the vehicle that size. And yeah, here's just some glamour shots. Like I mentioned, I use this as my daily driver for almost 2 years, I think. Great little winter vehicle. But these are the pictures that I took when I listed it on Kijiji. A fella came down from Edmonton to pick it up, and this is one that I kind of wish I could have hung on to because it's just such a cool little vehicle. Cleaned up really nice, really fun to drive, extremely good on gas. I don't have a whole lot of great things to say about the 1.6 GM engine. It was pretty crude, but did the trick. Oh yeah, I made new door cards for the front and the rear as well. So there's the little rear seat, pretty cramped back there, but still, engine all cleaned up, new hoses and stuff like that. So yeah, it never let me down, this little thing. It was just a pretty great little car. And yeah, so that's a quick synopsis of my 82 SJ400. Thanks for following.